we're starting layer one season, and I'm super stoked to have Lava here, and Ethan from the Lava team, and I'm thrilled to start off with some early morning for me stuff with some technical talks. So Ethan, welcome to layer one season.
I'm happy to be here. I didn't realize it was so early for you. What time is it?
It is 7 a.m, sir. I am in New Zealand.
Good stuff. Perfect time to talk about RPC and data infrastructure.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna take you on
I
a
have
ride. Don't worry.
yeah, so I've got my tea, and I'm thrilled to do this. So why don't we were talking a little bit before we went live, but I'd love to learn. You've been with Lava since like 3 months since it was started for the last 2 years. So I'd love to learn about your experience and Lava Network and how it differentiates itself in the blockchain ecosystem.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Nathan. So yeah, like you said, I've been on Lava since it was 3 months young. And even at that time, it had well, I joined as I think I was the number 11 employee, the first commercial hire, which to be honest is quite insane to be 11 people large at 3 months. And I think it speaks to a few things. One, the scale of the problem that we're trying to solve involves a lot of hands, a lot of chefs in the kitchen. Two, the founders are super experienced. They've done a lot in the past, working in cybersecurity, um, uh, AI, supermarket technology, um, club door apps, all of these things. And finally, they came to crypto to apply their trade there. Um, and also, Lava is just a kind of company that grows and moves super quickly. And I've now been at Lava for almost 2.5 years. And we had mainnet not too long ago, after about a year and a half on testnet. And it's been the wildest ride of my life. Prior to this, I was at Google, which was considerably less wild. Still an amazing place to work. I don't begrudge anyone who works in big tech or Web two, um, but joining an early stage startup is a huge learning curve, and yeah, it's been a crazy ride. So yeah, what we do at Lava is ultimately what we provide infrastructure, and the infrastructure that we provide, I can already see the eyes rolling behind the cameras here at another infrastructure protocol. Um, but the difference with Lava is that Lava has 2.3 million users already. You probably use it without knowing. We support 30 plus chains, and we have 70 billion plus RPC requests already handled. Now you might be wondering, how do I use Lava without knowing? What is an RPC request? Don't worry. All you need to know is that when you use your wallet and when you use a dApp on any blockchain, whether it's Avalanche, uh, whether it's Ethereum, whether it's Arbitrum, whether it's Base, whatever blockchain, whatever wallet, whatever dApp, that wallet and that dApp needs to be able to connect to the blockchain. And that connection is done using infrastructure called RPC. And Lava is an RPC protocol. To be more actually specific, Lava is a generalized data infrastructure protocol, and RPC is just one of the key infrastructure that the protocol can provide. Um, but yeah, you can think of Lava for now as a RPC protocol that can serve any chain and allow any wallet, dApp, and user to connect to whatever blockchain they want in a fast, reliable, decentralized way. So that's a bit about Lava. But yeah, back to you, Nathan.
So why not just use Google, Ethan?
Why not just use Google? Okay, Google, that's a really good question. Um, and yeah, so I guess I have to explain a bit more context here. So um, when a wallet or a dApp makes that connection to, let's say, Avalanche or Ethereum, they're really establishing a connection with a node, which is part of the Ethereum blockchain or the Avalanche blockchain. And that node is set up to handle RPC requests. You can call it an RPC node, and the people or the entities that run those nodes are called RPC providers. And RPC, you could think of it like a request response protocol. So when you want to make a transaction in your MetaMask, really what you're saying in blockchain language is swap my Ethereum to AVAX, right? And that is written and encoded in RPC format so that a blockchain node, basically a piece of software, can actually understand that and carry out that action on the blockchain. Or another example is you might open your wallet. And every time you open your wallet is sending an RPC request to a blockchain node that says, get me this address, the latest balance of this address, so that you can see on your wallet that you have 0 ETH because you spent it all gambling. And so all of these basic on-chain interactions that use your wallets or your dApp, they all require RPC requests. Just opening your wallet sends probably a few RPC requests because your wallet is triaging different things. So Google, as far as I know, they do run some nodes, and they are an RPC provider, and some dApps do use them. But if you're using Google to serve, then what you're doing is you're depending on Google, one, to support your chain, and this is not often the case, right? Because a lot of these providers, they only support a handful of chains and run a handful of nodes. So that's the main thing. The second thing is you're relying on a single centralized entity to return and handle your RPC requests. Now, again, Google, then they're not necessarily malicious, but they could have some faults with their servers, and the servers may go down, and their nodes may go down. In which case, your connection to the blockchain is no longer working. And so, with Lava, what Lava does is Lava aggregates many different providers together. So Google could join Lava as a node provider. In fact, Google actually, we're working with Google and we're announcing something this month with a case study as a stamp of legit partnership as opposed to like one of these fake BD partnerships. And Google we're working with to actually stream multi-chain data so that, with Google. And Google also has something called Blockchain Node Engine, which any provider or someone who wants to run a node can use to spin up a node. And people have already done so on Lava testnet. People have spun up Ethereum testnet nodes using the Google Blockchain Node Engine, which we're partnered with Google on. So yeah, why not just use Google? I think that's not the best framing, because you still use Google through Lava. You don't just use Google. You use a few other providers as well, because it's a aggregated routing network. So yeah, hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I say it in jest. What red pilled me into crypto years ago was the fact that we could run our own infrastructure. That's why we called it Web3, another version of this. And then if everyone's just consolidating into the existing infrastructure providers, what's the point?
Yes, exactly. What is the point? Yeah, like I said, what we're working on at Lava is, big vision to, in essence, enable actual crypto.
And when you see the CrowdStrike Windows bug that was pushed by CrowdStrike and then planes went down, this is sort of the advertisement for Lava.
Well, yeah, exactly. What people don't understand is that the internet is super fragile, right? Not just blockchains, the internet itself. Like, there's this, you probably would have seen this meme of the internet as this sort of stack of items, and there's like one marble holding up everything in a delicate balance. And I think the analogy is that there's this guy somewhere who's like hosting this super critical server or something that's depended upon by 90% of the internet or something like that. Or at the very least, majority of the internet uses AWS as cloud service. So the internet is super fragile, and it doesn't break often, but when it does break, it's catastrophic. And if we're trying to build a brand new financial system, a brand new internet on top of blockchains, we can't allow that to happen. And so, Lava is a critical component, but it's just one component that's super essential um, to be, revamped to be Web3 native.
So in the 90s, when the internet was really kind of booming, people were running servers out of their closet and just hosting their own work. How can normies participate in Lava and run their own infrastructure and provide to the network?
Yeah, sure. So, like I was saying earlier, Lava is, you can think of it like a sort of aggregator of different RPC providers and their nodes. And RPC providers can be giant conglomerates like Google. They can be the providers that you may know of, like Infura or Alchemy or Blockdaemon, which runs some of those run nodes on Lava testnet and mainnet. Or they can be very normal individuals with a bit of DevOps background who want to run their own Ethereum node at home, run their own Avalanche node at home. And so if you want to get involved, one of the main ways is you can run a node and you can help contribute to the network. You can maybe run a node for a chain that doesn't have many providers on Lava already. That's the beauty of Lava, right? Lava can support any chain really quickly because it's permissionless to add new chains. So instead of you going to Google or big provider and asking them politely in BD calls, can you support our chain? Lava does that permissionlessly, and we can talk about that feature later on. So yeah, as a normal person or a slightly technical person, you can run a node and you can handle RPC requests and you can earn rewards from the blockchains that need this RPC. There's plenty of other ways as well. If you're non-technical and you can't really run a node, that's fine. You're in the majority. Don't be disheartened. And there are many other ways to participate in Lava. We're sort of jumping ahead here, but Lava has a token too. And if you delegate the Lava token to a validator and then restake it to a provider, one of the providers I just mentioned, then you can help boost that provider so that they can handle more requests. And so what you would want to do is you'd want to boost the best providers so that overall the quality of service in the network is better. Overall, the RPC is faster, more reliable for the blockchains that you care about, and the provider will earn more rewards of which you will get a cut. So what that requires is you to pick a provider and delegate to them. There's actually a staking and restaking process on Lava, but you can just think of it as staking to a provider. And that's another way you can get involved as well. Other ways you can get involved by adding a chain, right? So like I said, Lava is permissionless, and you can think of adding a new chain or service to Lava like adding a new category to Amazon. When you go to Amazon, one day you might be searching for socks with frog prints on, and that's not a category that you can search. There are no sellers for that, maybe, right? But Amazon may decide one day to add a category called that, which would then attract sellers to start selling that item and then meeting the demand for it. So Lava is a bit like that, except Lava isn't a centralized entity that can decide what categories to add. Anyone can add a category, which then attracts sellers, or in this case providers, to provide service for that chain. And that service can be RPC, it can be indexing, which is basically more complicated APIs. In our white paper, we talk about oracles as well. and any sort of like node infrastructure or API based infrastructure Lava can support. It's just that RPC happened to be the one that the founders honed in on, or the initial contributors honed in on, because it was a big problem. And so, yeah, go on.
The spoiler alert, and this is live business development, is that the thing that Landslide needs is we need decentralized relayers. So where Landslide's the IBC connection to Avalanche, and we're the more relayers we can spin up that can relay into and out of Landslide, that is our success. So we would love to post on the job board that we need a ton of relayers, and we'll pay them in slide tokens.
Exactly. So yeah, relaying is another service, another type of infrastructure that Lava Network can provide. So instead of attracting RPC providers, you attract relays. And so,
and can we make those, if we need to make those relayers purple or green for whatever jurisdictional requirements, we can declare that.
Exactly. So again, all of this is done in, I can't remember if I used the word yet, it's the spec. The spec is short for specification, which essentially defines the chain and the service, and within that it has all the API calls for the RPC specification for that chain, all the relaying calls, and in that you can define policies as well. So maybe you want maybe there's a spec that is OFAC compliant that people want to supply, or like you say, green or purple, and you can define all of that in a spec. And again, you can find sellers or providers to provide that. It's a completely permissionless system that we hope can be super dynamic to whatever blockchains need in Web3.
Here's another thing we need. We need efficient routing between chains.
Exactly. So we work with a few interoperability protocols, and Landslide, I believe I think you guys already use this or about to start using this.
Yeah, we're in the pipeline.
So, yeah, again, I feel like I'm shilling Lava. Lava.
That is the point.
I mean, Lava can do a lot. So, yeah. So, like you say, relaying, routing, RPC, indexing, oracles, even sequences. I've heard our CTO talk about. All of that can be contained.
So sequencing, that's a real interesting piece here. We have NodeKit coming on in about an hour and a half, and they're doing decentralized sequencing. Do you want to dive into that a bit? I'd love to learn, and maybe you can give a brief overview for those who have just glazed over.
I would say yes, except I am not too familiar with the technical stuff, and it'd probably just confuse your audience.
Okay, I can give the technical.
You go for it.
So if you're using any layer 2 like Base or Arbitrum or Optimism, these are layer 2s, meaning they're built on top of a layer 1, and they use sequencing to settle at the end of the day or every couple hours or something, and so it allows you to just kind of run amok on your own chain, and then as long as those transactions settle, those are confirmed, and that process is called sequencing.
Yeah, as I understand, the sequencer is another type of node that sends back the bundled transactions back to the L1 after they're executed on the L2.
Right, and so
I think the main criticism that I think you're probably about to say is that a lot of these L2s have one sequencer that the L2 Foundation runs.
Right, so that's the marble in the stack of the internet that
exactly.
is like they're just charging massive fees on it.
Exactly. So NodeKit is another team we've spoken to. As you say, they're building like a decentralized sequencer, which will. I think there's teams also building shared sequencers, which are sort of multiple chains can use them at once. And obviously this is another critical component, just like RPC, that needs to be decentralized.
Yeah, and why? There, when everyone's making so much money, why not just run your own centralized sequencer, Ethan?
Well, why not build another big tech company, right? Like this is Web three. This is Web three. Like you chose to be here because you wanted to build a different internet. So this is the question that so many of us ask ourselves, right? It's an existential question. Do people actually want this stuff?
Good
And
question.
good question. Finally, we're asking it. But the answer has to be yes, right? It's extremely difficult to break free from entrenched systems that you've been using for so long. And personally, I think it's going to take quite a huge systemic problem to really push not lava but crypto into the mainstream. Always going to take a long time and gradually go in, but it will happen.
My personal I'm happy to hear yours. My personal experience is I was I was red pilled in 2015. When I read From Bitcoin to Burning Man and Beyond, I read this like Marxist treaty on how crypto enables techno socialist and then Marx just rised with a screech of horror out of his grave. you know
Is that fiction? Is that fiction?
it is
Or
not fiction. It is literally it was a research
wow,
paper, like a some PD anyway. So and that immediately red pilled me. I was like, oh, we just own the means of production. Everyone can participate.
makes
You don't
sense.
have, yeah, you can run, if you want to create your own local currency, you can run your own local currency. But since 2015, it's like everyone I talk to in my co-working space in Brooklyn, I used to host meetups for years. It's like pulling teeth with them. So like, what do we need to do to get normies red pilled into crypto? Like, what is it going to take? And then we have to fight our governments. So like, to
Yeah.
me, like the surest sign that people want to do this is that the government hates it so much. It's so obvious that like, if your government hates it, it's probably a good idea.
Don't say that too loudly. We need the government on
Yes,
side. The
please.
thing we're on side. So, but yeah, no, that's a funny story. Like I came much later, like in 2020, and in 2020 there was actually, well,
So
to be honest,
I guess my question to you is, if you were at Google, like, what was it about the discussion that kept you out? Like, why?
they kept me out of crypto.
Yeah, why not ape in earlier?
I think it's what. Well, actually, the first thing is at that time it seemed like this esoteric, technical, nerdy thing, and I think now it's shifted from that to a scam thing. So
Great.
I don't know whether it's a great
Super
transition,
excited.
but,
Thanks for having you aboard, Ethan.
but I'm just saying, in the mainstream, this is still probably the main thing.
So what about traditional finance is not a scam?
That it's used by everyone, and it's
It's a law.
It's convenient to not believe it's a scam. Honestly, I think that's like the crux of it. A lot of it is about collective belief. Um, but yeah, what stopped me was, I guess, the what felt like super technical. I mean, even now it's very technical, very heavy. We're talking about node infrastructure, which I don't know how many thousands of people in the whole world really understand or care about, which is fine. Like they shouldn't really care about it too much. It should be invisible. Um, but um, but yeah, it was that. And actually, the thing that got me in was actually the founder of the thing that got me in was just convicted by the SEC. I think it was a project called BitClout. Have you heard?
Yes,
You would be familiar with this.
this was an early experiment in tokenized reputation,
Exactly. Social tokens, they called it, where you could buy tokenized part of a person and their reputation and their clout.
which I think is a great idea.
Interesting, fascinating idea. And it was sort of the first time that I came across crypto and blockchains outside of trading.
It's the
Um,
logical extension of capitalism, right? Like you just tokenize yourself. Here's my token, buy or sell me.
Crypto is a super weird world, but this was the thing that got me in. Obviously, it didn't turn out so well, but now it's come back. You see the same patterns being experimented on again and again, and each time it gets a little bit closer to being normalized and refined, which I think is a good thing. But it's going to be a process.
So could we, like with lava, if we for people who are normies who are like, this is kind of really interesting. I don't have the technical ability, but I've got some money. Like, can I just go to like a small cloud provider, like let's say Nirvana? Shout out to Nirvana Labs. We've worked with their cloud provider. They're excellent. If I just want to like spin it, like run the numbers for me. Like if I want, like I just drive up some USD, I spin it up for like $500 a month. So now I'm running my RPC on like bare metal servers from like my friend's company, and I'm supporting local small businesses. Like is there a way to onboard normies from cash?
To running a node.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, like I was saying, like you can run, like you say, on bare metal. You can run on cloud like AWS
I mean, like, is there like a place for me, like, my friend who's a no coiner? If I want to red pill him into lava, I'm like, just go to lava. You don't have to believe in any of this tech. Just put in your credit card, and you can start spin. You could spin up your own whatever you want to do, and you earn X.
We're talking to like some platforms like a Cash, if you know them.
Yeah, we're also working with Jackal, who's going to be on a little later.
Jackal. Yeah, shout out Jackal's another Cosmos chain, just like Lava. And projects like this can make it very easy for basically outsourcing running a node for you, right? And this will make it easy for normies on board to become node providers. But again, you don't have to run a node. You can just delegate to a node. If that makes it, that's easy.
I want to brag to my people still in the industry. I'm trying to get them out. It's a fixed income asset, right? Like your own, I want to dig up Marx from the grave and force the ghost of Marx to run a node.
So yeah. So if you're that determined, then you can go to our docs and you can read about running a node. And we have a community as well of node providers now that's going very strong, and there's much tooling built out for that, and we'd be more than happy to help you.
Great. Yeah, we'll obviously shield this to our community. I think this is great for people in sliders in the landslide community who want to be a part of it and want to also be serving their own network. So I think the thing that we need though is we need a one-click button that takes our credit card, spins up a white labeled node on behalf of that user.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea. I know our BD team have spoken to some teams about that in the past. Maybe you should build it.
We could build it.
Like, you have the vision for it. So
yeah, I'd love to build it.
Let's do it.
Great. What do you sort of jumping back into applications for applications that want to adopt Lava? What's the onboarding process like?
Yeah, so for applications, it's super simple, and you don't have to change much from what you're currently doing if you're using a normal provider. You just get one of the endpoints that Lava provides, and you plug it into your application and you go. It's free, and our free tier is much more expansive than many other providers. It's like 30 requests per second per IP, something like this, which is actually quite a lot for those who are not aware. And you just copy the endpoint and you plug into the application and you go. That's the basic way to use Lava. And behind that endpoint, obviously, there's all of the providers on the network and all of that routing behind the scenes. Now, the other way you can use Lava is through the SDK, the Lava SDK. The Lava SDK is something that is still experimental, but it essentially allows peer-to-peer access to the Lava network because the endpoints are still hosted in some way via the gateway that we spin up. Although you can spin up your own Lava gateway as well and host endpoints too if you want. But there's also the Lava SDK, which is fully peer-to-peer. And you're welcome to use that as well. Actually, like I said, it is experimental. If you want to give feedback on that, we'd be more than happy to hear. But and as far as we're aware, it's the very first time something like this has been brought to life. Like no server, no hosting of endpoints, just direct access to a decentralized protocol. So those are two main ways that you can use Lava as a dApp developer.
Have you guys integrated with the AI stack yet? Like something like a Cursor or like a V0 Replit?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I guess we have in some way. We'd have to ask our engineers about that. What you mean for dApp developers, or you mean like
Yeah, I mean for app developers.
Okay.
Yeah.
For dApp developers, no, I don't think we have. I mean, on our engineering side, I'm sure we have.
Yeah, so this is like sort of peeking under the BD route. So we integrated Landslide integrated Andromeda, which is like a drag and drop Squarespace for building applications. And so our idea is like our next step is to integrate with Cursor basically as a browser extension for VS Code. So like, yeah, I mean, the idea in the next 6 months is you just go to Cursor and you say, I want to build this dApp on these chains with this infrastructure provider, and then it just spins it up. You should be able to do it with one finger on an iPad, right?
I've seen a theme in your vision for how crypto should be. It's basically make everything as easy as possible.
Oh, dude, it's really stupid.
Yeah, I think fully back it. That sounds amazing.
Great.
I guess Lava is a bit like that as well. One endpoint, access to all these chains.
Yeah. So. One ring to rule them all.
Exactly. That used to be one of our slogans, actually. What was it? It was like one RPC endpoint to rule them all. It didn't have the same ring to it.
So how do you? How do you make sure that the rich don't get richer? Like, is there any inside the marketplace itself? Like when there are, let's say, Google or AWS come in, and they're like, "Hey guys, we're here." Like, how does the marketplace, like, if there's normies that are running 99% uptime, and they're doing well in the marketplace, how do you highlight smaller players?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I guess on the meta, the macro level is that the whole point of Lava is that the big providers generally don't focus on the long tail of chains. So if you believe that, as many do, that rollups will proliferate in the near future, near, medium, and long-term future of crypto, you will understand that there are many chains, many rollups that will require RPC that simply cannot be served fast enough or at all by the big providers. If you look at the two biggest providers today, they only serve 10 to 15 chains between them. There's way more chains than that. Like one of our most used chains, which is Near Protocol, they're underserved by a lot of the big providers. And so Lava provides an invaluable service there. And so the smaller providers, the normies running nodes, or the smaller but really high quality providers, they have an edge by serving this massive long tail. And this is one of the ways in which, on the macro level of the network, smaller and medium-sized providers can obviously stand out. Now, the other way is that Lava has a lot of like a pseudo-random selection of providers in the pairing process. And the pairing process works like this. Providers stake Lava to join the network. They stake Lava on the Lava blockchain. And applications or data consumers, you can call them, they fetch a list of providers from the Lava blockchain. That list is generated based on geolocation, historical quality of service, if the provider is available. Just like when you book an Uber, if the Uber's too far away, Uber's not going to ping them. Right? You're gonna get the one that's closest to you, or the one that has the highest score, or some blend of that. Right? So Lava generates that list based on relevant parameters, and that is not always the big providers. Um, and also, when you generate the list, you are communicating with about 10 different providers, and you can set, as a DApp developer, strategies for how you interact with those 10. For example, you can randomize your RPC calls so that you maximize the privacy of the users making the requests. Right? In that case, the rich won't get richer. You can prioritize latency. So you can just ping one provider, for example, and they can return quickly instead of pinging all and double checking the results. So there's multiple layers of Lava that have different mechanisms that deter or that prevent the rich from getting richer. Although at the end of the day, if you're providing good service on Lava and you staked a lot, it means that you're more at risk. You're taking on more risk in exchange for more rewards. So there is that element as well. But yeah, there are in a nutshell, it's complicated, but there are a lot of mechanisms to help the small and medium providers too.
That's great. Thank you. We're coming up on the end here, and I just wanted to give you guys an opportunity to talk to like the emerging layer one ecosystem in Avalanche. There is a roll-up community as well, but are the sort of the go-to-market for Avalanche is that it's a layer one to build layer ones. So maybe you can talk about how they can get involved, or what you'd like them to know.
Sure. Well, it's a similar pitch to the roll-ups, right? Like if you're on L1 or an L2 or roll-up or roll-app or a sovereign app chain like they have in Cosmos or subnet, whatever, all of these networks require RPC. And if you're a new chain and you're struggling to find a good RPC provider, or right now you're depending on community validators running RPC for you, or you are running your own nodes for your own ecosystem and your own users and your own developers, we can help you out. Like we provide all-in-one service. And when I say we, I mean the decentralized Lava network. We can help you bootstrap your RPC network. We can help you optimize it by creating these competitive marketplace dynamics. And we can help bring a strong technical community of node providers that already exist on Lava to your chain. And some of these guys have already made block explorers for us. They do a lot of work on docs for us, snapshots, state sinks, all of these handy tools for validators and node runners alike. All of that can also be provided for your chain. So if you want to get involved, chat to or reach out to me or read our docs, and you can learn how to do it yourself permissionlessly. Though it's a bit rudimentary at this point, but it's getting better. And what you do is you just deploy some tokens, or it can be USDC or whatever, just rewards that then attract RPC providers, and they will serve RPC for your chain, and they're paid every month in a combination of Lava tokens and your tokens based on how much RPC they serve and the quality of that service. It's that simple, and the Lava protocol will do the rest. Lava will aggregate them, route the RPC requests to the best ones, and make sure it's super reliable and fast for your users. So if you're on L1, don't hesitate to reach out. We're here to support you for your RPC needs.
Well, that's great. Yeah, if it's not apparent, Landslide is this is sort of the reason why we've opted to use Lava as a decentralized RPC provider. So I hope that came through in the discussion. Yeah, this has been great, Ethan. I appreciate your time. Like I'd love to have you back on and do this more regularly. Like I'd love to build this sort of onboarding app for normies for Lava. And
Yeah,
yeah, do you have any questions for me?
I mean, this was super cool. This was super cool. How's the rest of the event gone? Like,
You're number one. You're the opening
number one.
act.
Oh, it's 7 a.m. I guess.
Yeah.
Told you out of bed for this. What's up? Who's got coming? You said Node Kits.
Yeah, NodeKit. Next up is a panel with Jackal, Joke Race, Pact,
Oh, nice.
and Tech, a meme coin on Avalanche.
Cool.
And then we have some other we have NodeKit, Dexalot, Ellis. Dexalot's the omni-chain Dex on Avalanche. Ellis is a Dex built to mimic the feel of a centralized exchange. And then later today is Web3 security auditing with Oak Security.
There you go, folks. If you're listening, that's the agenda for today. Stick around. Looks like it's going to be a good one.
Great. Thanks, Ethan.
All right. Cheers, Nathan.